Do you have a child? Do you have a husband? Do you have a pet? Do you have a grandchild? They're all kind of similar, aren't they? Kids are absolutely amazing. A husband, significant other, they're absolutely wonderful. If you don't have either of those, you probably have a pet. And what do you want more than anything in this world for them? You want to keep them safe. You want to do whatever it takes to keep them from getting in trouble or getting hurt or anything, right? Who strives for that? Everybody. Your kids, your grandkids, your husband, your pet. You just want to wrap them in a little bubble and keep them safe, right? Yes, definitely. Hey, welcome to Unscripted Conversations. I'm Ashley from Virginia, Ashley from Simply Blessed Designs. And today, let's talk about loving others. Loving others to the point of control. My hand is in the air. I am guilty. In my defense, I don't really see it as me being in control. I see it as me trying to help my child, right? So Cameron was a Marine. Yes, was. He got out and didn't re-enlist. It's okay. And I'm like, to Cameron, that wasn't the plan. That was not what was supposed to happen. You were supposed to stay in. You could have retired when you were 40 years old, gotten out, gotten a good job, get money from the government retirement, and be making an income. But you know what? Mom, stop. It's not what he wanted to do. I had to check myself. You're right. My youngest son, Philip, goes to Tennessee. He goes to college. Do you know that I live in Virginia? Yes. Hey, y'all, I'm Ashley. Ashley from Virginia. My kid's in Tennessee. My youngest son is 10 and a half hours away from me. He has his own vehicle. He has his own friends down there. He has a life. Did you brush your teeth? Did you shower today? What time did you get home? Did you miss class? What was your grade on that exam? When in the world do we let go? Whether it's your child, whether it's your grandchild, your husband, how much is too much? You want to do everything in the world to keep them safe. Everything and anything to keep them safe, right? But how much is too much? Is there such thing as too much? I guess there can be. So we all know 1 Corinthians 13, 4-7. Love is patient and love is kind. I always say the terrible T's. Whether you have a toddler or a teenager, or they're in their 20s and they think they know it all, your baby is so sweet and wonderful, and you just want to hold them and cuddle them, or your grandbaby or your niece, your nephew, or even your dog. I don't have cats, so I can't speak for them. I'm sure they're similar. But once they hit those toddler stages, oh my gosh, they're like little terrors. They're into everything. They're jumping off furniture. They have absolutely no fear at all. They are independent and want to do everything themselves. Then they turn teenagers. That's another T. Teenagers. If you have teenagers, bless your heart. I never thought that I was going to get out of those teenage years. Oh my goodness. Mine were complete opposites. My oldest was pretty laid back. Very quickly he learned, I'm not pushing mom's buttons. That second child, he does not care. They are polar opposites. He will do anything and everything. It doesn't matter. He's going to push your buttons. If you say, here is the line, he is going to have his foot right up against that line where his toes are slightly on top of or a little bit over. They are going to do whatever, right? Love is patient. Love is kind. Patience. Patience is a whole nother ball game. And one thing about patience, I always thought it was funny that people always say, oh, he's got the patience of Job. Have you ever read the story about Job? Job had absolutely no patience whatsoever. Like, he was like, God, I am done. This is horrible. No patience. I just thought that was funny. And then teenage years, they think they know everything. They do. You don't know what you're talking about. I got this. I can do it myself. But in their 20s, it's like it gets a little better, but then it gets worse. They really think they know everything then. So Cameron got out the Marines and he came home. He's been here for 2 weeks now, and I have loved having him home. But he's lived on his own for so long, it's kind of hard being back under mom's roof. Like, there are rules here. Hello. You do have to clean up after yourself. What did you do when you were in the military? Do you know how to use a washing machine? Laundry. Did you use soap? Y'all, Sam is the same way. I think they're like, okay, I'm going to wash clothes. I'm going to stick every single piece of clothing in the washing machine until it is absolutely full. That way, I only have to do one load. Oh boy. So Cameron got a job and he's doing awesome, but Cameron needs to find a place to live. So he found this place, and what do? No, you're not going to live there. Ew, that is like, where is that even located? Is the paint off the side of that house? Does it have a yard? What in the world? Hello, Mom. Take a step back. Breathe. So I'm like, okay, well, I was looking at this house and this is completely cute. It is a apartment. It has been renovated. It's brand new. It's got all this new stuff. It's nice. It's in your price range. It's got good, heating and air and everything. And Cameron's looking at me like I have 3 heads. He's like, Mom, how much is too much? Step back, Mom. Step back. Yes, you want your kid to be safe. You want him to live in a nice house. You want to make sure that he has proper heating and air so his light bill isn't sky high. Not an old farmhouse that is 2 stories. Why do you need that much room? Stop, you're doing it again. The hardest thing in the world is to let your kids grow up, to let your grandkids grow up. So there's a very fine line between control and offering opinions. I don't mean to be controlling. I'm just trying to help. Before he can even say it, because Cameron's so nice, he's not going to say, Mom, you need to stop. Let me do it on my own. Am I offering my opinion? Is it even wanted? Is it asked for? Am I offering my opinion to someone that I have no responsibility? He's grown. He has a job. He's going to be paying his own bills. Wow. Major point. If you are not paying someone's bills, if you are giving your thoughts and opinions to someone and you don't have any responsibility to take care of them, mind your own business. As a parent, you quickly realize that life is one long series of letting go. You watch your kid crawl, then walk, then run, then drive away. It's hard. You raise them, and you raise them to let them go. You raise them to fly, to be on their own. And that's hard. How do you let them go and make their own choices and let them spread their wings and let them fly without knowing, are you going to sleep on time? Are you eating enough? Have you lost weight? Are you doing laundry? Did you wash under your fingernails? I got you that fingernail brush. Are you using it? Are you using toothpaste? Do you put deodorant on every day? You don't talk to strangers, right? Speaking of strangers, isn't it hilarious how when we grew up, we were taught not to talk to strangers, don't get in vehicles from strangers, and now we totally call Ubers for rides and food, and strangers are bringing us our food and taking us places. It's hard. It is so hard to watch something grow up and let them spread their wings, fly, become who they are. But that's our point. That is our goal in life. If you have children, you want to raise them to be decent human beings. If they have kids and you have grandkids, then you want them to be the same way. And I'm going to tell you what, my kids got away with a lot more than I got away. Like, hello, you would have knocked me into next week if I had done that. And they get candy. Why are grandparents like that? It's okay. Grandparents, y'all can do anything you want to your grandkids. You can love them. You can fill them up with candy. You get to send them home. You don't get fired. Where do you draw the line between control and assistance, giving your opinion. Hey, I know you want to do this, but if it was me, I think you should do this and this and this. And then sometimes they just look at you and they're like, Mom, come on, stop. I got it. That hits different. It starts when they're little and they're toddlers and they're running around and it's mine. I do it. I do it myself. Teenagers, if you have teenagers, bless your heart. Ooh wee. Teenagers are a totally different breed in their own. My best friend has a teenager that is like so sweet, so kind. She is like so precious. I had like evil little critters. I mean, they weren't evil, but hard-headed, stubborn, talking back. Oh, those teenage years. I know everything. I was never like that as a teen. From the moment our babies roll over for the first time, it feels like they're constantly just moving away from us. And then as a parent, you quickly realize that life is just, like I said, it's a series of letting go. And that's hard. The hardest thing was, one, dropping the oldest off at boot camp. He was getting on a bus to go to Paris Island and I wouldn't be able to talk to him. I wrote him a letter every single day. He was probably tired of it, but every single day I put a letter in the mail to that child. I couldn't speak to him. I didn't get to speak to him for months. The second hardest thing was to drive all the way to Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee, and it's 10 and a half, almost 11 hours away, and drop the youngest off. It's hard. How do we deal with that? How do we give them opinions about, hey, I understand that you're getting ready to get your own house and everything, but if it was me, you need to do this and you need to live on this street or this street because that is better, it's safer, and you don't need a 2-story house because that's just going to be too much room for you. You're going to have a higher electric bill. You're going to have to pay to heat and cool it more. And stop, Mom. Sometimes they have to make mistakes. They have to mess up in order to grow. We can give our opinions all day long, and sometimes we give our opinions a lot, don't we? Even when they didn't ask for it. Honey, you should not do that. Did you look in the mirror before you left the house? You should not be wearing those clothes. Why do we do that? Why do we give our opinions so much? And we're not supposed to, right? Is it because we're nosy? Are you nosy? I'm a little bit nosy sometimes. Sometimes I'm really good and I'm not nosy, but sometimes I'm nosy. I'm like, Sam, I hear a siren. What's going on? Who is it? Was it an accident? Was it a fire? Who is it? Are you going to the call? Do we know who it is? He's not supposed to tell me that information. Oh, mind your business. That's one of the hardest things ever. Have you ever read 2 Thessalonians 3:11? Yet we hear that some of you are living idle lives. You refuse to work and you are meddling in other people's business. Oh, God says that we're not supposed to do that. We're supposed to work hard for Him. We're supposed to mind our own business. And if we're working and doing what we're supposed to be doing, then we're not meddling in other people's business. 1 Thessalonians 4:11, make it your goal to live a quiet life, minding your own business and working with your hands. That's twice in the Bible it talks about minding your own business, huh? Wow. This one gets me every time. If you suffer, however, it must not be for murder, for stealing, doing evil, or prying into other people's affairs. 1 Peter 4:15. This gets to me because murder is like one of the most horrible things you could ever do. Being a thief, stealing, that is absolutely horrendous. Being evil, that is terrible. Oh my gosh, those 3 things are like, wow. But what's the 4th thing in that same sentence? Prying into other people's affairs. Like, who would have thought being a little bit nosy would have been grouped with those bad things? I mean, a murder, a thief, being evil, or prying into people's affairs? That must be a big deal to God, huh? But it's so hard not to be nosy. So you live on a road and you see that your neighbors have put their house up for sale. Another person comes in and buys it. And what is the first thing you think of? Well, who is that? I wonder where they came from. I wonder if they have children. I wonder if they live alone. Are they married? I wonder why they bought that big house. I've only seen one person, but that's a lot of house for that one person. Do y'all do this? It's human nature. We do. And it's terrible. We're not supposed to do that. Where do you draw the line between making conversation and being nosy? Where do you draw the line between guiding your children to make the best decisions but overstepping that boundary? You have to stay in your lane. And that is one of the most difficult things to do, especially this day and time. There are so many different things that your kids, your grandkids, your husband, your pets can get into. How do you not cross that line by controlling? It's very hard. The best thing that you can do to keep stress out of your life is to stay out of other people's business. If they want your help, if my child, I am speaking to myself right now, if my child wants my help with something, they will ask me. If my husband needs help with something, he will ask me. I need to remember to stay in my lane, step back. They have to grow. They have to spread their wings. They have to experience things. I cannot wrap them in a bubble. I want to. Ever since the day that the doctor handed me each of my children, I wanted to wrap them in a bubble so that nothing hurt them. They didn't get in trouble. They made the best decisions. They had the right group of friends. Stop. I can't. We cannot wrap our children, our grandchildren, and people that we love, our friends, our family members, in bubbles. We have to have faith and trust in God. We have to have confident hope that God is going to be right there. God's going to guide them, because you know why? God has the most perfect plan for each and every one of us on this earth. And where we mess up is we try to take that pen and rewrite what he has planned. That's when we start messing up. That's when we start failing. Romans 14:12-13 says, yes, each of us will be given a personal account to God. So let's stop condemning each other. Decide instead to live in such a way that you will not cause another believer to stumble and fall. You want to guide them. You want to help them. You want to wait until they ask you. If they need help, let them ask you. Some people, they have so much pride, we'll get on that subject later, that they will not ask. You can see them struggling, but all you can do is say, hey, I'm right here. Do you need help? Can I help you? What can I do to take your load off of you? What can I do to help you? God gives us so much direction. All we have to do is open that book and read it and keep confident hope that he has a plan. We just need to follow his plan. Pray about it. Ask him, this is what's going on, God. You know this. You can see everything that's happening. Guide me. Lead me in the right steps. Which way do I need to go? And he will lead you if you let him. I grew up riding horses. I love riding horses. I haven't done it in years because that's a different story. I need to get back to it. I love horses. We have them now. They're kind of lawn ornaments. We don't ride them. They have a bit in their mouth that is connected to reins. You pull on the reins, it guides them, it leads them. Give God the reins to your life. Let him lead you, and you will do big things. So I'm going to take a step back, and if my child asks me to help him find a house, I'm going to offer, hey, do you want me to help you? Here is what I found. I found this and this and this. What do you think? If he shows me something, I'm going to say, okay, well, what kind of heat and air does it have? Is it an older house, a newer house? Does it have insulation? I'm going to ask questions to make him think, but I'm not going to tell him what to do. I cannot tell my grown child what to do, where to live, or any of that. I think one of the hardest things of parenting is crossing over into that teenage years to adulthood, because you've always been there. You've always told them what they needed to do. You were the law. You are not going to do this. You are going to be home by 11 o'clock. 11:01, you're not going to go anywhere for the next 4 days. You will have a job. You will do this. But when they cross into an adulthood, all you can do is guide them. You cannot tell them what to do. So we have to stay in our lane. We have to have faith that we raised them to the best that we could have to make great decisions. Can you not step in at every once in a while and say, hey, this is the path that I see you going down? You might want to just think about that. The biggest thing you can do is get them in church. If you had a new neighbor that just moved in, you take them with some cookies and say, hey, I'm not sure if you're interested, but I go to this church and services at 10 a.m. Just wanted to invite you to come along. And if you're uncomfortable, do you want to ride? Instead of saying, where did you come from? What do you do? Do you have a job? Stop being nosy. Invite them into your world. Invite them over for supper. Make conversation, but let them lead. If they don't want to talk about something, don't force it. Don't ask nosy questions. And it is so hard because you just want to know. You want to know, but why? Why do you need to ask nosy questions? Why do you need to find your child the perfect place to live? They got to grow. Give them the reins. Let God lead them and let them grow. All right, y'all, this was definitely for me. It was on my heart heavy today, and I hope that you got something out of it. Y'all have a great, great day. Thank you for listening to my podcast number 4. I am loving this. I'm loving what y'all are saying. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and come back every single week for another episode. Thanks, y'all. Have a great day.